and nice to be back here in a different role.
On the other side of the table?
On the other side of the table. So we did send you a little memo, but just by way of introduction for everybody, our longtime printer, Courier Printing, has been bought out and was closed this past fall, which made it necessary for us to immediately find a printer for this year's town report. And we are really looking for a printer that we can develop a long-term relationship with. I think, we don't want to be hopping around each year trying to go through this process. So we spent some time as a committee weighing the costs versus quality of offset printing versus digital printing, and then how many copies of hard copies to print and that sort of thing. So a lot of discussion going in. So with I'm just going to say some of the pros and cons. Offset printing, which is how our report has always been printed, comes at a slightly greater cost, but better quality. Digital printing, which is more recent and up and coming and continuing to improve, comes at a lower cost with lower quality, especially the quality of the paper, the quality of the just the richness of the ink on the paper, the image reproduction, the blacks and whites, the contrast, and so forth that make our report with the offset what it has been. And then the possibility of not printing so many reports, but having, say, 500 or some amount that we determined would be appropriate. A combination of digitally printed that way and then PDF, so all electronically through the website. So, and that would give us lower cost plus less waste, which would be obviously leading to less environmental impact. So those things have all been sort of put before you. I think we probably see it going to digital, or the digital plus PDF combination would be a overall savings somewhere of about $3,500. So we can continue with the offset. Full printing of 2,400 copies. I think we only need 2,300. Doesn't have to make a difference in the price. And gradually move to a combination of hard and hard copy with electronic, but keep the hard copies all in offset printing. Or we can switch this year to digitally printed, keep 2,300 this year, and then sort of morph slowly into the combination of a fewer printing of hard copies with the PDF format. And you have in that memo that we sent also the committee's recommendation. And I think probably in the best of all worlds, we probably would prefer the product that we've been putting out, which is the offset. But we're also aware of other things. So we did make a recommendation that the committee in general agreed on, that short term we would do the digital print of the full number of copies, hard copies. That we would conduct a very brief survey in the spring to see what citizens actually do with their town reports. So do we need to keep printing 2,300 copies or go to 500 plus PDF being the regular way of distribution? And long term, move on to that reduction depending on how that questionnaire comes back. And I was just going to note that the Dover Code, and maybe you all looked at it, did you make a copy of that? No. So I used to think that we had to have hard copy of the reports for everybody. But when I looked it up, it says there shall be published and distributed among the voters of the town at least 14 days before the annual town report. And it says nothing about the format. So, we are not constrained. So the report committee, because we work for you, we're not honest, we want
I thought you were sick.
She wants us.
And get your input. I think we don't want to go ahead and make that final decision without hearing what the selectmen feel is important. And may I ask one thing? Yes.
I wanted to add also that in light of the closing of the current printer, we've had a long-standing relationship with them, and with that came a sort of pride on their part and some very favorable financial terms. Another sort of wrench in the works might be that our longtime graphic designer might be wrapping up her longtime stint with us and anticipating the likelihood perhaps of maybe a year or two in the future of higher costs for an incoming designer, because I can tell you she also cuts us a very good break. The offset printing estimates that we had received were significantly, notably higher than what Courier has charged us. So understanding that a digital option is good because it's so significantly lower in cost, but if we do go with offset, it's important to know that the estimates are pretty high. I would say, it's safe to say about at least $2,000 more this year. And I know that we have a budget, we've always stayed very under it, but that might also be a consideration moving forward, that the prices will jump if we continue. That won't stay static, it will be higher.
Great. Well, thank you very much. The town report and the committee, the publishers, you do a fantastic job. It's a beautiful product. So I wanted to say that.
Yeah.
And this is a perfect example of the devil's in the details and what it costs to get this thing out to all our townspeople. So thank you very much. Before I get into the consideration of offset versus digital, this is a 2016 budget appropriation issue. What was your budget last year?
11.5.
Okay, so it's not even a consideration if we went offset. But I do love the idea of digital. And quite honestly, we did a little taste testing prior to the meeting to see if we could ascertain digital versus offset. And short of one of the fonts being too small in the digital, I really couldn't tell the difference. Not that I'm an expert in this stuff. But I tend to agree that we should go with the digital and coming to the current affairs and how things are printed, you know. So I agree with your summary and your recommendation. Robin and Candace?
I also love the availability of PDF.
Yes.
I think it gives people a sense that they can plug into a part of the report that they're looking for, or, you know, access that part and otherwise close it up if they've gotten the information they were looking for. I think it makes people feel that it's accessible. I will agree with your summary in complete different paper. The one thing I would say between the digital and the offset is it's a very beautiful paper. And that's a loss. I mean, but at the same time, it's a saving for the town, and it feels to me as though we're ultimately moving in that direction. The question is just how quickly do we want to move? So I think if that's the direction we're headed, there's really not much reason to hold ourselves back. That would be my feeling.
I agree with you. Robin?
Going to sound like a broken record. First of all, I commend all of you that the town report is a great report, and I actually have all 18 of them and I'm running out of space on my bookcase. So PDF, I would love that option. But from my own experience in the workplace, you know, I have also been forced to switch over to digital. There is some, I did find that some printers are better than others. I also have slowly moved towards printing some copies and having copies available through PDF. I think more and more people are trying to go paperless in their homes, and so the PDF option is a great option. So, you know, I agree with your recommendation for this year, and I think small steps in making change is probably the right way to go.
Well, good. Do we not take a formal vote, excuse me, do we?
I think
No, we just agree with theirs.
We're looking for the direction.
Yes.
Well, certainly. Well, I think we agree with your recommendation.
Go ahead.
Well,
Whatever
please.
you guys want.
And as far as the looking at the digitally printed report there, the Airtown report, we definitely can have bigger font, we can have whatever
Yes,
font we
yes.
choose, and margins, and.
I was holding it out here and trying
Yeah,
to.
no,
The layout would be the same,
Uh-huh.
the same style that you are familiar with internally.
and the same size, we can have that size that we have,
Right,
and just keep.
right.
Keeping
Because this-
consistent,
The
yeah.
same,
Because I think it was because of the font choice and size that this looked so much crisper than the other town report, which was small and fuzzy, but that could be because of my glasses, not because of the font.
Well, good. Well, to summarize, we agree with your recommendation, and please feel free to go digital.
And thank you for coming in and presenting us
Thank
and
you
doing
for
your
this.
homework.
Appreciate your consideration.
Yeah.
and
thank
your
you for your
input.
time.
You're welcome. And again, Happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And for the record, I'm going to try be on time this year.
Okay, as we move on into my next agenda item, our next agenda item, we are going to discuss the Minuteman District School Committee's request for a special town meeting. And Robin, I believe you can summarize what's going on for us,
I can
please.
summarize what's going on, and Candace can fill in where I overly summarized. We have actually made a tremendous amount of progress with respect to the Minuteman District, and we finally have a direction. However, that direction involves that we, as a board, vote to have a special town meeting. I believe the date that we're thinking would be a good date is February the 8th. And the purpose of the special town meeting is for us as a town to vote to accept the amended regional agreement of the Minuteman District. And I was a non-believer. I am very surprised that we are in this position, and very, very pleased. Over the last 6 weeks, the Board of Selectmen of all 16 towns in the region have gotten together. All of us have figured out how to get to yes. Everybody has compromised. The biggest compromise for us as a town, and one of the reasons that we feel really comfortable recommending or will vote to recommend having a town meeting, is because the first amended agreement was extremely punitive to Dover. The capital costs were for 5 students, and that has been reduced to 1 student, and we typically have 1 student attending Minuteman. The special town meeting will have 3 warrant articles. The first one will be to approve, for the town to approve or recommend or vote for this amended regional agreement. The second one is in the agreement as it stands today. The town of Dover specifically has an option to opt out of the region. So the second agreement would be for the town of Dover to vote on whether or not they want to opt out of the Minuteman region. At this juncture, the Board of Selectmen does not have a recommendation, but we expect to have one in the near future, and that will be discussed at this meeting and also disseminated in what I believe is going to be a pink sheet that's going out. And then the third, one really important thing to understand is once this agreement, this amended regional agreement, has been accepted by all 16 towns, it still needs to be approved by DESE, or the Department of Education. And so if the town of Dover elects to opt out of the region, both the agreement and us opting out needs to be approved by DESE. The third item on the warrant article is an advisory item. It would be for the town to allow the Dover School Committee or any other committee or subsection of that school to negotiate an intermunicipal or intergovernmental agreement with the Minuteman administration for us to send students to the school. As you can tell, if we elect to stay in the region and not to elect to opt out of the region, then the third warrant article would not be voted on. And Candace, did I leave anything out?
No, I think you did a superb job. The one thing I might
I did
add
leave
is...
something out.
No, you didn't. I think I would stress the fact that it is the new agreement and passing the new agreement that opens the door for us to have the option of either staying in or opting out. So it is paramount that we all come to the special town meeting and support this new agreement. That's what every one of the 16 towns is trying to accomplish in this next month. So it's very timely and very exciting, the momentum of all of this. And then how the town feels about either staying in or opting out of the district is open for discussion and for conversation, and we'll certainly further this discussion in this setting as well. That would be the only thing I would add.
Right, and I think one important thing is if it is not, if any of the 16 towns don't have a quorum or are unable to pass or get a positive vote on this, it will go to a district-wide vote to try and get it approved.
Right.
So it's all
critical.
or nothing.
Right, it's critical.
So it's going to be critical for us for people to attend this, for citizens to attend the meeting. It's going to be critical for us to have 175 people at the meeting.
Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Candace. And, well, it's easy for us to assign a warrant this evening. We have our town moderator, Jim Repetti here, Kate Caney, who's from the warrant committee, and Felicia Hoffman, who's our town clerk. And this is going to be a team effort to get this done very quickly, and I appreciate you coming in this evening. My first question is to the warrant committee. Have you decided that January 25th you will have an open hearing?
Yes, we will be having an open hearing in the Great Hall on the 25th.
Okay, Mr. Moderator, do you have any comments on the meeting on Monday, February 8th? You all, anything, concerns or anything, other than quorum?
Well, I think the quorum is our major concern, and in that regard, I think it would be very helpful if we could start to post material onto the town website as soon as it's generated. And I also think it would be very helpful if the press, I'm Maureen, would draw attention to our voters about how important this is. This is an issue that raises important educational policy questions. It's also, I assume, going to raise some very important tax questions in terms of what our percentage liability will be for the new building that's being proposed. So I think that there are a lot of important issues that our residents should start to think about ahead of time, hopefully with the aid of materials that will be posted on the web. And then come to the meeting so that we can have an enlightened discussion about what is in fact the best way to proceed for our town and for our students.
Right,
Right.
excellent.
And there is a lot of excellent material on the Minuteman website, and maybe we could work together on pointing our website to some of that material. Linking it.
Great. Thank you for that, Tim. Felicia, do you have any, obviously, it's a big crunch on you, obviously, from now till February 8th also.
It's practice.
Yeah, it's a big practice, and it's a good way to look at it.
I think we're already starting to work together, and I think it'll be just fine. We just have to make sure we get the word out.
Right.
That's huge.
Right,
And
it
it
is.
can't just be 175, it's really
Right,
gotta be more.
exactly.
Right.
So I think school committee folks really should be important to this as well.
Well, our Minuteman representative, Ford Spalding, who was traveling this evening, couldn't appear, but I believe he's guaranteed the quorum.
He's picking people up.
Yeah. And Chip Spalding can't be counted as two. But I know, again, let me emphasize the fact that it's going to be a tremendous team effort from now until Monday, February 8th. And to reiterate what Candace said, and everyone's talked about, the consensus that evening is very, very important. And I forget who mentioned if we don't get the 175 to start the meeting.
Right.
Now then, but if we don't get the meeting that night, we still have to continue trying to have another town meeting until such time. Is there a number of attempts before you say no more?
I don't believe so. And I think we already have scheduled in an alternative date that we
The
could,
22nd, I
I
think.
hear that.
that we could move to.
Now, one of the questions I might have is to the, say we didn't have the 175 voting townspersons that night, and we subsequently planned a second special town meeting, in between that period, another town sort of voted no, or whatever the case may be, which would have triggered the special district-wide meeting. Can we then cancel the town meeting, the second round?
I think technically, I'll have to look at the statute, but my memory is that technically we would have to call the town meeting and then have a vote to adjourn.
But would you need the 175 to have the vote to
Well, if we
adjourn?
don't have a quorum,
Cool, I'd say it's consensus, thank you.
then there would be a question about what the moderator's role would be in recognizing the lack of a quorum and calling the meeting to order and then moving to adjourn. And I'll have to talk to town council about that.
Okay,
you know.
okay, that's a concern of mine, because we have 16 member towns here, and
And we're not
I
the
don't know
only,
what's gonna happen.
right, we are not the only town in the region that has expressed concern about being able to get a quorum.
Okay.
But
good.
again, I want to stress, the reason that I believe what the momentum and the drive for all these special town meetings is because every single town needs this agreement to pass for there to even be another question about withdrawing or staying. Without the agreement, it's a moot issue.
I agree with you 100%. I believe everyone at this side of the room, perhaps everyone in the room, understands the importance of it.
Right.
But do we have another 168 people who understand the importance who will come out on a Monday night?
We
to
need a
vote?
few more.
Whatever the case may be, plus or minus.
Right,
So I agree with you 100%.
right.
Yeah, I think that it should be noted that we have probably the strictest quorum requirement
Exactly.
of the 16 member districts, and, but I'm confident that the citizens of Dover will want to be leaders in this, and because of the importance of the issues involved, that I think we'll be able to get the vote out.
I hope you are correct, Jim. I hope you are.
Right.
And in that regard, I think particularly it would be very helpful if we have some numbers that are accurately outlining the scope of liability for Dover. I've already received a lot of questions about that from people, and I think that it's going to be an important part of our educational process at the town meeting to educate residents not only about the benefits, but also the costs.
Could I
And
address
all
that?
of that is on the Minuteman website.
Right, and I was just going to say, I received an email from the superintendent's office in Minuteman District saying that Tuesday or Wednesday at the latest, they expected to have those numbers to all the towns.
Great.
Well, we have preliminary numbers, but
Right.
I think it will be important to have a flashcard summary of what is on
Oh,
some of
absolutely.
those.
We'll have our moderators meeting Thursday prior to, I take it?
Right, we will. It's scheduled for 6:30, and if you feel it would be helpful, I'll be happy to have a meeting earlier as well. We scheduled it for the traditional time, but given how things are moving on parallel tracks, I'd be happy to have an earlier meeting if you think that would be of assistance.
Okay, and the special counsel working with us on this is available to attend both the moderators meeting and the town meeting.
Great. Good.
Very good, thank you. Thank you for all your input, thank you very much.
Right.
With that in mind, I believe we have to vote for a special town meeting on Monday, February 8th, 2016.
With a rain date or a second date of the 22nd?
Is that what it is? The second date is the 27th?
We don't specify that, okay.
Okay,
Sorry.
so I'll entertain the motion for that meeting.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. I believe we'll sign the warrant this evening. And it'll be mailed out tomorrow? Is that
It'll
correct?
go to the printer tomorrow.
Printer tomorrow, mailed out shortly. That's fair enough. Yes, Mr. Moderator.
Just one other thing.
Hold on, where's my thing?
But I just wanted to thank Candace and Kate and Ford for all the work that they've done, and Robin as well. because it isn't an accident that this has been coming together in the last 6 weeks. It's been the work of a lot of hard work by a lot of people, and many of those people are in this room with us tonight. So I just wanted to say thank you on behalf of the citizens of Dover for all the hard work you've done on this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I think we would be remiss in not thanking Greer and Dave.
Oh,
and
yeah. Absolutely.
Felicia for all the work they've done, and
Right.
Carol Lisbon, who was the Minuteman liaison prior to me,
Right.
and Candace. So,
That's right.
Thank you.
That's right.
Carol, if you're listening, town meeting, February 8th.
That's right. Thank you.
Thank you for that comment, Jim. Okay, we're executing the warrant for the special town meeting right now.
Good night, Felicia.
Good night now, thank you. And once we execute that, our next agenda item will be to review 2016 annual town meeting warrant articles that have been submitted to date.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we have 28.
Yeah. You're taking all the thunder from me. We have 28 warrant articles
I am
today.
helping you keep on track here.
28?
Yes, 14 which are recurring.
Okay.
And 14 new articles, and that number is subject to change, plus or minus. This is our first look at these, and no need to go into the details of them right now because they are subject to change. But the numbers again are 28 in total, 14 recurring, and 14 new articles, whether they're citizens petitions or selectmen or different boards in the town. Any comments other than that? We'll obviously have this on our agenda for the next few. Warrant closes next Friday, which I believe is January 15th. Is that correct? Thank you. So if any citizens or anyone want to put a special warrant article in, please work on it as quickly as possible. Thank you. Next agenda item is to award a tree removal bid. Greer usually handles the rewarding of bids.
Yes, and we did in fact have a bid opening on Tuesday for the annual tree removal and/or pruning bid, dependent on what year we are in the 5-year tree plan. We had 5 submissions altogether, and the low bidder was Stumpy's Tree Service, located in Ashland, with a low bid of $14,800. Stumpy's has done work for us before, and they are outstanding, according to the tree warden and the superintendent of streets.
I would just give them the bid based upon their
Based on the
name.
name. Absolutely. I was thinking the same thing.
So, the superintendent of streets is recommending the bid be awarded to Stumpy's.
So this is based on the 5-year plan, is that what you just said?
That's correct.
5-year plan, good, thank you. And including, so the specs included some catch-up also. Excellent.
Do you want me to make a motion?
Yes, please.
Okay, I make a motion that we accept Stumpy Tree Services bid of $14,800 for the annual tree removal bid.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Stumpies. Okay. Thank you. As we move along in tonight's meeting,
Excuse me, is there also a bid award for tree pruning?
There is no tree pruning this year on the 5-year plan. At this time, that will come later in the season. Yeah.
thank you, Greer. Next agenda item is to execute an agreement between the town of Dover and Mills Whitaker Architects for an accessibility study at the Carroll Community Center. And a little background on this one. This is actually a proactive measure that we're trying to take in the Carroll Community Center. And by that I mean the town has decided over the past couple of years to invest in that building. Most recently, the facilities upgrade of last town meeting, which was approximately $500,000. And as you know, as we described at town meeting last year, the plans in the next few years is to further study the need for replace the two boilers and to replace the heating and ventilation system with controls in that building. And in such, if you went along and did all those three things, it would most likely trigger the need to be compliant with ADA regulations in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. With that in mind, the selectmen decided to be proactive and do an accessibility study at the Carroll Community Center. So we'll know if in fact the town appropriates the funds down the line, what it would take to bring the building up to ADA standards. And that's what we're trying to do tonight, nothing more, nothing less. Yeah, Robert or Candace, do you have any questions or concerns on this? Or Dave, even, do you have further input on that?
You said it very well, Mr.
I think
Chairman.
I'd just like to reiterate what you said. I think over the years, we have gotten the question time and time again, you know, what would be the additional cost to the town if we had to make the building handicap compliant? So I do believe at this juncture we are being proactive, and I think the trigger for that was when we started reviewing the actual plans for the bathrooms and started thinking about some changes that and I'm emphasizing may have to be made if we were to move forward with the other projects.
Thank you for saying that, because it is just being a proactive study. There's no work being done, so forth, so on, and I want to stress that greatly.
I did hear a little rumor that we were putting elevators in the bathroom. So I think there was a little bit of a misunderstanding that it's just a placeholder in the design and that, no, we do not, and I think they were gold leaf elevators, maybe to match the toilet seats that we had at the Warren Committee party, but just on a lighter note.
Well, thank you for that. Candace?
Nope, I have no comment.
Okay, then I will make the motion that we execute the agreement between the town of Dover and Mills Whitaker Architects for an accessibility study at the Carroll Community Center.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
I am
Thank you.
very curious to see what the cost is for,
Yeah.
and what you might have to do.
Good, thank you.
He didn't tell his name. That's all. You know, because he could be off schedule if he took the time.
Okay, and to other business on the agenda this evening. I would like to, before we get into mileage reimbursement, we do have one appointment this evening, and Candace, I believe you have that.
I do. I'm delighted to announce that Tim Holliner has agreed to be the liaison from Conservation Commission to the Open Space Committee. It's a role that I filled for a number of years and enjoyed it greatly, and I'm thrilled to have a colleague from Concom come on, and it's a wonderful addition. So thank you, Tim.
Very good.
Thank you. I think that is a wonderful addition
Yeah.
to this.
So, would you like to make that motion then?
Yes, I'd love to move that we appoint Tim Holliner as the new liaison from Conservation Commission to Open Space.
Do I hear a
Second.
second? Very good. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for that, Candace. Thank you, Tim. Okay. Back into other business, the mileage reimbursement rate, which we go over once a year, as the IRS changes their thought process on what people should be reimbursed for driving around in cars. We then change the town's reimbursement rate, or have at least since I've been sitting up here. So, this font is very, very small, and who can read
I can
this
tell you
font?
this because I looked at it for work today. It decreased by 4 cents
Did it really?
to 54 cents, right? per
Oh, there
mile,
it is
from
right there. Thank you.
57.5.
That's right.
I wish you gave this to me earlier. I had to look it up today.
It's probably only due to gas fuel costs, right?
Because I made the comment, it should go down, and then it
Well,
didn't go
I
down.
was just going to say, and
Yeah.
when you see the price of gas continue to drop, it's Amazing.
Okay, so we just deal with the miles driven. Do we incorporate all 3 levels? Just the first one, okay. Thank you, Robin, for that. So I'll make the motion that the town accept the standard mileage rates for reimbursement of 54 cents, which again, as Robin said, is a reduction from 2015 of 57.5 cents. Do I hear a second of that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next agenda item,
How did you make up 10 minutes?
the clock might have broke, I'm not sure. No special licenses tonight.
No?
This is the first meeting I remember, no special license. Very first.
Right.
Party is over, Mr. Chairman.
I guess so. I've never been invited to one special license event.
Are you
That is
sure?
unbelievable. Absolutely. Trust me on this one.
Didn't we, for
A special
Carol's
license event?
party, didn't we have to get a special
I
license?
stand corrected.
Yeah.
We did.
Oh, that's correct. Wow. This is honestly the very first meeting I've never had a special license that I can recall.
Well, especially in the near term. We've had so many.
But I digress, and I'm sorry for that. Let me go on to my next agenda item on the other business, which is prior notice of building maintenance. Okay. And as we just discussed, the desire to be proactive in the Carroll Community Center and to study the cost of ADA accessibility to that building. There's a cost to that, and that was $9,500. So there's a prior notice to the warrant committee to fund that cost.
So isn't a prior notice just saying we may need funding?
Yes, prior notice, we may need funding. It's getting toward the, well, no, I keep thinking it's getting toward the end of the year, it's not, it's January.
It's early.
crazy?
That's the
Okay.
problem with fiscal years.
Yes. We don't have to, we just have to acknowledge the prior notice, correct?
Right.
Or do you want to-
Typically vote them, don't we?
The selectmen voted and.
And the warrant committee
was
acknowledges.
given it. Yeah.
Good, thank you. So, given that, as described, the $9,500 for the handicap feasibility study at Carroll Community Center, I'll make the motion that we accept this prior notice. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Maybe we'll have a meeting where we won't ask if we need to vote the prior notice or not. We're slow learners.
Kate, I know you'll have to go back and describe this to the warrant committee. Do you have any questions before you leave this evening on this particular prior notice?
So this is funding Mr. Mills' firm to come in and just review
Correct.
what the potential is. And will he also be able to provide us, one of the questions we had, is an explanation of what are the standards needed to trigger? Is it, a cost, a percentage of the building, timing of the projects? Those are all questions we as.
I think that's a reasonable question. I think he can
To
answer
get a
those.
better understanding,
Yeah.
so that we can keep kind of calm and carry on.
Yes.
I can provide that answer to you.
And that's the whole intent, to be calm and carry on
Probably
until the
not a
town
bad idea to
appropriates.
have him just put it in the front of the report, just as a reminder.
Yeah, he certainly will in the report.
Right,
I
That's-
right.
that's
think it's
good.
even in the deferred maintenance report of 2003.
I think it is too.
Yes, he did.
Back in there.
Yes.
Right, because we always forget, because I think it's a percentage of, but you see, even I don't
Remember
remember.
that if it was in a timeframe.
Yes.
It is both,
It
it
is.
is
After a
both,
certain amount
right.
of time, then you almost.
Restart it,
clock
right.
and things. So
Right.
those are just,
Yes.
we don't have all of that information, it would just be helpful, so
Okay.
we can keep that in the back of our minds going forward.
Good. I'm glad I asked the question. Thank you for that, Kate.
Do you have a copy of the deferred maintenance report?
No, I don't know if Doug does, right
We-
now.
Because, yeah.
I
don't have-
supplied warrant with all that last year as part of the facilities upgrade.
Yeah, Doug probably has that.
Yes. If not, I have a big file home, Kate, if you'd like.
Oh, thank you. Space on a shelf.
Thank you for that. The next agenda item is citizens' comments.
Kate, do you have
Kate,
any
do you have
comments?
any comments?
Actually, one thought I had about like a quorum for the town meeting.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is possible. Would it be possible to reach out to all the different town committee chairs and ask them to encourage their members and family members
That's a good
to
idea.
attend the meeting?
It's a great
Because
idea.
We all put in countless hours attending meetings and
Right.
doing the work of our committees, but, you know, kind of start counting that, the school committees and all that, and
That's
you know, conservation, all those people, if they could kind of gather their friends and neighbors as well, like how beautiful.
It's a
I
good
was
thought.
thinking wine and cheese.
Well, that was very good.
We could get a special license. And you could attend. There we go.
I was
I
also,
can't argue against that.
I was thinking about, do you suppose it would be possible to use the blast through the schools
I
as
don't think
a,
that's, I don't think that's allowed for some reason.
What
as
about?
a reminder for a
As a
special
politi-
town?
As a political, I remember there was pushback a couple of years ago.
Oh, okay.
For using that for political reasons, and I don't know if you'd say that was political reasons, but it's a great thought to,
Well, and also it's a school issue.
yeah, I get it, but for some reason.
Mhm,
I-
it's a
I forget the
conflict
details,
of
but,
some sort.
it's a
We
great,
have, I know we have different topics that the town sends out blasts for, like Springdale
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
other topics. Could we access those lists?
I don't think we can access those lists, but I know what we
privacy
could do,
Just like
is,
blast out or?
you- if the press, you know, does an article, and then we can announce that there's a link on our website, and we could ask people to sign up to get more information.
yeah.
And, you know, that way we would be able to remind people on
Maybe
that,
going
on that
forward,
link
we
of all
could
the
have
stuff.
a list that generates for all town announcements.
Mhm,
Like going forward, like, would you like to
Right.
be alerted of
right,
any special meetings or
right.
ongoing meetings?
Is there something, like,
For
for
special,
people, like if anybody, is there a place that you can sign up on the website, that if you want updates on anything that's been updated to the website, you could get an email?
Not in general.
Not in
no,
general.
generally, there are groups
Yeah, 'cause-
that, like the Friends of the Dover Greenway,
Right,
who have used constant contact to make
Okay.
announcements of meetings
okay, that
upcoming.
way, all right.
Mhm.
That's,
This is such a rare event for us.
Mhm.
This is almost
Oh,
unique.
and we have so little time with this one.
Yes.
But I know, like, the PTO, the Dover PTO, and
They're very strict on
Positive.
political. Very,
Oh, so
very
they
strict.
wouldn't, okay, all right. Candace said this already.
If I may, how can, if you can advise us, how we can get this as a reoccurring theme in the newspaper front page, or whatever the case may be, rather than, you know, community note or something on the page 8. Do you have advice for us, how we can best get it publicized via the print?
Just get the information to me as soon as possible, and I'll find a home for it, and it'll be, you know, as you know, posted. We have our own Facebook page, we have our
Right.
own Twitter page,
Mhm.
and, of course, put the local online sites. So if you, as soon as you get that information, get it over to me, and I'll see what I can do.
Okay.
What about a banner, a pink banner at the top of the Hometown Weekly that says, "Special Town Meeting, Monday night, February 8th," to come the Thursday before?
Okay, I'm not hometown.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Uh-huh,
yeah.
okay.
Sure.
But I'm, that kind of
Good idea,
thing,
though.
right, right.
And, without sounding too much like a competitor, Hometown Weekly does go to all homes
Uh-huh.
over,
Right, right,
which is a distinct advantage.
mhm, right.
So I'm sure if you contact Rob Rosen, he'll be happy to help.
Well, and I appreciate it, I didn't mean to put you on the spot, I just was trying, it's just such a family of publications where we're trying to see how it's utilized today, and I appreciate that, Maureen, thank you.
Thank you, Maureen, for that. Well, I'll make the motion to adjourn the meeting at approximately 7:14. Do I hear a second on that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, and again, Happy New Year. Welcome to 2016. Good night now.